Hello there friends, I'm Euclidean Vision, the emotional support, back with another Overwatch video, and today we're going to be discussing the future heroes of Overwatch and their potential abilities, with some very special friends of mine, Teslobo, MasterIanGamer, and a new challenger to the channel, the Astrobiologist. You guys alright?
Hi.
I'm alright. Hello.
Nice, and thanks for coming on to do this with me. You guys ready?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, let's do this. The best place to start has got to be like the actually confirmed heroes. We're not going to go into where all the info has come from, but at least we know that Mauga, Sojourn, and Echo are as near to confirmed as possible, and there's supposedly long-term plans for both the Junk Queen and very possibly Null Hector. Any of those that you guys want to look at?
Null Hector is the Dreadlocks Omnic, right?
Predator bot, the guy they sacrificed Maximilien for, any number of crazy names for that guy. Yes, that's that guy exactly.
Storm Rising Omnic.
Okay.
Storm Rising Omnic. Yeah, okay, that's easier. Yeah, any of those?
Yeah, I mean, I think, like, in terms of what do I have ideas for, like, what they could do?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think Echo is probably going to be shield-related. I think that's pretty much a given at this point.
In terms of, like, support shielding?
Yeah, I mean,
Rather
I
than
think,
barriers.
I think she's gonna kind of do, like, she's gonna sort of be like Sim, but not a builder.
Mm-hmm.
I think is probably what they're gonna try and do with her.
So like
and obviously she's gonna have some. Yeah, and obviously she'll have some degree of healing, but I think she's probably going to be an off healer, that like specializes in giving bonus shields.
Okay, cool. Anyone else with any other ideas on Echo, or do you have anything else for her, Astro?
Well, I mean, I sort of had the idea, like, especially with, with Sigma, I actually had an idea kind of similar to his kinetic grasp, where it's like, she doesn't take damage for a certain amount of time, and based on how much damage she takes, it generates shields for her and people around her.
I had the exact same idea. Yes, nice.
Yeah.
Literally had the exact same idea.
So, that was sort of my big one. I guess the other one was, I thought it would be cool if she could have, like, not a blink, but sort of like a teleport ability or something. Basically, she just moves, say, 7 meters in whatever direction she's looking. Like, it's just that simple.
Oh,
like, nothing really crazy.
Okay, no specifics. Yeah. Cool. Alright. Anyone else? Any ideas on Echo?
Yeah, there is one little thing that I can't get on my head, is that Echo looks a lot like a hero in a now dead game, Paragon, called Muriel. And I can't get out of my head the idea of her using some of Muriel's abilities, specifically the one where Muriel isn't, like, positioning focused. She can fly anywhere she wants, wherever, so positioning isn't an issue. And I was thinking sort of being able to meteor strike in and out of places, and when she lands, she will heal where she lands.
Ooh.
That'd be cool.
Like, support Doomfist.
Yeah.
Support Doomfist? What the hell?
That sounds amazing! That sounds so much fun!
As a Doomfist main, that both sounds fantastic and absolutely sacrilegious.
This is the best and the worst thing simultaneously.
Yeah, exactly.
Jesus. That's a pretty cool idea, man. I actually quite like that. Like, with the wings and the segmented body, there's got to be some weirdy movement, like disassembly.
Oh yeah, no, she's gonna have movement.
Thing that they could do, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the things on her back kind of remind me of, like, insect wings, which I thought could indicate some sort of flight mechanic, but I don't know.
That's kind of cool. That ties into an idea I had, where she'd be able to use them like a progressive knife. Like a vibrating knife weapon. So the wings themselves, she can fly with them. They're just wings. Like, they're not going to hurt anybody normally. But as they're like suspended, if she was able to like vibrate them, almost not at the molecular level, but at the, like, molecular level vibrations to make them be able to cut through things they wouldn't normally be able to cut through.
Mm-hmm.
So as you say, insect wings, that kind of fits quite nicely with the sort of very fast vibration idea.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that goes together.
That's pretty cool. Ian, you got any ideas?
Yeah, so like on the topic of her wings, I have this weird sort of suspicion that they're just flat out not actually going to be wings. Like they're definitely designed to look like that, but I feel like they're going to end up having some like completely different purpose. Because when you think about it from like a practical design standpoint of like a robot or an Omnic, like those wings wouldn't really work unless we're just assuming they're like some sort of vessel for like energy that lets her fly. Because they're not physically attached to her body, first of all. They're not designed properly. They're like curved, so they wouldn't even work for like grabbing the air, you know?
She floats anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they definitely look like wings, but I feel like they're somehow not going to be wings. And I have honestly no idea what they are going to actually end up being if that's the case.
Oh,
because they're very weird.
That's kind of cool, because I've done an Echo Abilities video where I played with some, like, wing weapon ideas. Whether she uses them, like, physically, or making sort of, like, energy waves, or possibly even hardening them and using them as the rails of a railgun.
Yeah, I almost see them being more something in line with that, or possibly like the edges of a barrier, where she could like whip them in front of herself, and a barrier will go between them.
Duh.
Oh god, it's Brig, but Symmetra.
That sounds more like your Sanjay, Ian.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about. I don't know if it'll be on the same level of like constructing like ramps and stuff. I don't feel like that's what she's gonna do.
It'd be more horizontal.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Reinhardt barrier that you just sort of... Well, I guess it'd actually be most like a Sigma barrier, because it just sort of, it just goes in front of you, and then maybe she can like change its positioning after it's deployed or something. Or maybe not, and they just hover there.
Yeah, or if you could have like an interaction where you say knock a wing, and it'll knock back anything in front, and it also moves your barrier positioning, so you can like have this cool almost like MOBA-esque balancing of your two wings going on.
Yeah.
For like offense and defense, that'd be pretty mad.
In the video I did on my Echo concept brainstorming, I kind of said like maybe she could use them almost to like shield herself or something. Like maybe like that's what she uses to redirect energy into shields when she gets shot at or something.
So it's literally like putting characters under her wing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, a similar idea at least. Yeah, totally. So yeah, I think you're right, Ian, that those wings aren't actually wings.
Yeah, another thing I'm noticing now that because I'm like looking at images of her as I'm thinking about this.
That's what I'm doing, yeah.
At each of her like limb joints for her like where her arms connect to the body and her legs connect to the body, you get these sort of like blue discs, and then that exact same disc is on the wings. So what if her arms just go away and float behind her, and then the wings come up and replace her arms, or her legs even,
like
and it's just like all these interchangeable parts.
She's a crazy shapeshifter.
Yeah.
She's like floaty Bastion.
She could be like Recluse. She could be like sexy, nice sci-fi robo Recluse.
I feel like.
Do you see where I'm going? Do you see where I'm going with that? With the wing.
I think so.
With the body position being sort of high up, and then the legs and the arms actually down quite low. She almost becomes like a big spider tank. Like projecting an energy barrier between them and shit.
Are you saying this is the character that's going to end up being that crazy spider lady that we always see in the concept art?
Only in like either movement in that iteration or like mechanics. They're hopefully not the same character.
because if that's what you're suggesting, then she absolutely has to shoot a laser beam out of her mouth.
Out of her face! Literally out of her face! Like, yes! Are you seeing why I was coming to this now? Like, that'd be
that's just her primary fire. She just opens her mouth and just fires a giant laser.
I mean, her face is just pure light. Can that just be the laser?
She shoots.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, she shoots faces at people.
Yeah, she shoots faces at. Oh god. Oh.
Part of her power is how actually creepy she is.
Yeah.
That would be such a jarring direction to take her.
Yeah,
actually, if you look at her like in a profile, like her face in a profile, it is actually a little disc concerning. Like when you look at it, it's a little creepy.
Oh yeah, if you remove like the light face, her face is just flat.
Well,
with a massive
I mean, like,
spike from the back of it. That looks really like actually kind of creepy when you put it like that.
well, no, but like when it's projected and you look at her head from the side, it looks really creepy.
Oh,
yeah,
like,
it definitely looks like some weird like AI stuff out of like a sci-fi movie where the alien or the robot's gonna take over, and it's like that face just like appears over the city, and everyone just becomes subject of robot overlord.
Yeah,
and stuff.
exactly.
It would be pretty cool to like twist her into a villain somehow, right? Just because of expectation, do you know what I mean?
I mean, well, honestly, I think she could at least be like corrupted into a villain, because if you think about it, I know everyone is like Echo is in like, you know, an Echo.
Totally possible, yeah.
Initially, yeah, and like initially I was thinking, oh, maybe she's like an echo of Athena. Maybe she's like a part of Athena. But then what I realized is that the word echo actually comes from the Greek goddess Echo.
Nymph.
So, yeah. So like she might actually just be a god program herself. So like
That's entirely
you
possible. Yeah.
you could definitely like have her get corrupted to become like evil again or something.
I think that ultimately depends on what she is. Like, that's where
Yes.
we're gonna actually learn what can actually affect her, etc. What she can really do, and because yeah, she's pretty nebulous at this point, despite all the crazy ideas we've had. Like healer-Doomfist.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Give me healer-Doomfist, please.
Oh my god. I've had people say that she would be cool as like sort of a shield version of Mercy or something, which I think would be kind of cool. Like she gives people shields instead of damage boosting or something. I don't know. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, she definitely comes across like visually in the way she talks as like Robo Mercy. Like
It's very
Yes,
Mercy-esque.
Yeah.
she has
Yeah.
like the very sort of like white body and everything, making her look angelic basically.
Uh-huh.
It's kind of weird.
She's almost like an artificial angel is kind of like the way I would describe her.
Yeah.
Be nice if they do actually like play with that, because if you look at her from certain angles, it's almost like she also has devil horns.
A little bit, yeah.
Do you see what I mean? I think she'd be really cool to like play with that sort of thing. It'd be nice to see
Yeah.
allegiances move around at some point.
Huh.
That's a good
Yeah,
point.
you're right. She does have that weird hard light like crest on her head. Like, what is that about?
Yeah, I've not been able to figure out like her head design, like what is going on. all
What is that thing?
Like, if you look at her back, right? It almost looks like that crest would fold into her back.
That could make sense for how she was stored, or maybe for some of those other weirdy modes and stuff that she could possibly
Yeah.
like shapeshift into if that's the angle that they go with for her, or
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, there's so much you can do with her, even though there's so little about her. It's quite cool, do you know?
Yeah, she is one of those heroes where you can. There's so much you can like theorize just based on the 20 seconds she's on screen.
Yeah, totally. In that case, then we're going to go on to someone that it's far easier to actually determine something about. Let's talk about Mauga. Let's talk about fucking Mauga. Someone take Mauga. Tez, I haven't heard anything from you for a while. Give us some thoughts on Mauga, man.
Yeah, sure. There was one thing that stuck out to me about Mauga in the comic when he had his armor on. Around the neck, there was sort of a helmet brace that you'd find on a sort of blast-proof suit. If you kind of recall that. So I was thinking, what other sorts of bulky armors and people use those sort of things? And the first thing that came to mind was the Krogans from Mass Effect.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
So I was thinking more along those lines of shotguns charging in, that sort of play style for Mauga. Just no shields for himself, no barriers, self-protection. He just runs in there and fucks shit up. For a core loop, I was thinking that he would create an area that people would not want to be in, like something opposite to the immortality field, and then he would knock people into that zone and keep them in there, sort of corral them.
Oh my god.
Yeah, he tanks by threat, so you're thinking like full bruiser.
Yeah.
Nice. That fits the character huge, man.
I mean, but if you remember from the story, he has a barrier. It's just not huge. It's not like
I don't know if they even say how big it is. Like, they suggest that it's also used for quite a while. Like, he manages to, if I remember rightly, he uses it, like, all the way up the stairwell, like, 2 floors of killing dudes to get to St. Clair.
Yeah. Like, sort of like a riot shield for himself.
Yeah, because it specifically mentions that he can fire one of his guns while holding up the barrier at one point.
And it's big enough to have Baptiste and Nguyen behind it, right?
Yeah.
Which is about as big as Mauga. So we can see him having, like, a small shield.
Yeah.
But
kind of like a brig shield, maybe a little bit bigger, though.
Well, yeah, it would just be like a brig shield, but for his frame.
Somewhere between that and a Sigma barrier.
Wasn't Sigma's barrier meant to be his barrier originally?
Yeah, that's the other thing.
God damn it.
Now that we have Sigma with his barrier, will Mauga still have a barrier?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Well, I think they probably will, just because it does seem like they have a sort of general idea of what he's going to do.
Especially if the shield is reflective, like a few people have posited.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's what I was thinking. I don't think it's a regular shield. I think it is something that, like, can deflect things.
So it's more like a much rarer ability, like Defense Matrix, for instance.
Well, sort of. You know, I would think it's like, it still takes damage when things deflect off of it, but it just has a much lower durability or something.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. I've always wondered about like you said, the one-hand shielding, one-hand shooting, Ian. Like, if there is going to be some balance between holding up your shield and shooting with one gun, and then the sort of change up to the double guns, and how that could, whether it'll be like a passive or something, like
kind of like a Lucio crossfade, where it's like you switch from one mode and then to the other, and then.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought of it like that. That's a quite cool way to think of it, actually.
Sort of like Bastion, where it's like there's either, you know, like the mode where he has 2 guns and he can move at full speed and he, you know, does more damage, or, you know, he has the mode where he, you know, has 1 gun away and he has the shield up and he moves a bit slower and he does like half the damage or something.
Yeah, it's really simple, but it's such a nice sort of mechanical, like, skill balance thing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Mauga's got to be, like, blunt and simple as a hero, really, doesn't he?
Oh yeah, no, like, absolutely. I mean, that's honestly, like, sort of what is so appealing about him to me. It's like, he's not, like, strategic or anything. He's a lot like me. He just wants to get in there and shoot. Which is very much my style.
Yeah, at least we're all getting his attitude right, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
I imagine if Mauga does have a barrier, it's more likely to be something that's sort of like Eris's Fortify, where you can keep shooting, and it's just this thing that's passively there on a timer.
Yeah.
So protection's there, but you're thinking about it necessarily.
Yeah, that would kind of work for Mauga, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it would.
Yeah, that's a nice idea. Getting sort of the spirit of the guy is almost more essential. I can't think of anything, like, further, though. I can't think of any real, like, particular abilities.
Well, I think he'll probably have double hit scan miniguns, sort of like Bastion, so they'll have, like, a huge clip. But aside from that, didn't they say that, if I remember correctly, he can, like, oh god, there was a few things they referred to him being able to do in the short story. I just don't remember.
Oh,
the exact things.
One of the things it specifies is that he has cooling tanks on his back.
Yes,
so I'm not sure how exactly that would come to play into his kit, because we also know that his guns do physically reload, so it wouldn't necessarily be an overheat mechanic on his primary fire, but could be a different ability it's tied to.
Yeah, that's actually not a bad idea.
Yeah, that's true.
The primary fire could work like the L-Star, which is the newest weapon they added to Apex, where there is ammo to it, but there's also a cooldown that if you're firing it for too long, maybe like halfway down the magazine, it'll overheat. So it's got a high fire rate, but you still have to manage it.
Oh.
So it's like both a reload and and
an overheat.
And okay.
Again, relatively, like, simple. So, like, Mauga focuses on shooting. Do you know? Like, shooting, reloading, shooting, reloading. Do you know? Like,
pretty much.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense, actually. The other thing I remember from the comic actually is that it says that he manages to rip a guy's throat out through combat armor.
Oh my god.
So I was wondering, like, with his bare hands. I forgot to mention that.
Jeez.
So I was wondering if there was going to be something like a melee attack that does maybe more damage the more health you have, or something like that. So
Or you could just straight up have like a melee move on cooldown that just destroys people. You know, it wouldn't be like Doomfist, but like he could just like punch you really, really hard. That's a cooldown ability. I mean, I'd be down for it.
I don't think he'll have the charge though that the heavy assault has.
No, because that's just
I don't think so.
like verbatim Reinhardt's charge.
Yeah, exactly. Unless they like modified it so he's got like something in between that and say a Winston leap, like a Bob run or something. It like, as you said, Tesma, like
Bob run.
Yeah, like a Bob run, and then when he manages to get if he does hit a target in that like 2-second channel of sprinting, he knocks them into the air, for example.
Yeah. Oh my god.
That's why I said a Bob run. Sorry.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. I guess there are some ways they could sort of change up. Like, it wouldn't pin the target necessarily, but it could like knock them up or knock them back or just do a whole ton of damage or something.
Yeah, or like the way that the movement works or is applied or something.
Yeah.
So like it's not verbatim, but it's close.
I'll admit, like, one of my favorite things about Ash, like, I don't particularly like using the gun too much. I just like sending out Bob. And I feel like if there was a hero where I could just sort of do similar things to Bob, I would be perfectly fine with that. Because Bob is the best part anyways.
Oh yeah, Bob is the best part of Ash, no doubt.
Because you know, there's always just that satisfying moment where you're fighting, like, a tracer, and, you know, you just throw down Bob, and Bob just pancakes her.
Bob does things.
I love it.
Do you reckon Bob could turn into a hero at some point? Do you reckon that'd actually be kind of cool?
I mean, it would be kind of cool. I don't think it's ever going to happen.
I don't think it's going to happen because it's like Ash is sort of by design like a duo pairing hero.
Yeah, I was sort of joking. I mean, I was hoping someone would have just like some silly idea out of nowhere.
Oh no, like don't get me wrong. I feel like if they, for some stupid reason, decided to rework Ash and like change her ultimate, I feel like we could definitely get Bob as a character. But like as it is now, I don't think so.
Yeah, that's
I mean, yeah, maybe we could get like Ash's other Omnic butler, Rob, and use this Bob, but a hero.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's at least the easy route, right?
Yeah.
I was thinking it could be kind of cool if Ash was Bob's ultimate.
Yeah, I mean that honestly, yeah, I'd take it.
Do you know?
Yeah, just like forget about like the shooting stuff. I just want to send out Ash as my ultimate. Like that. Honestly, that's a character I think I would like a lot more.
Better balance of Bob to Ash.
Yeah, that would be a lot more fun to me, at least. I don't like the sniper characters, so I mean, I'd take it.
Oh, her gun is so satisfying to shoot. I do enjoy her gun.
Oh, it is very satisfying to shoot, but it's just like aim is like that one thing where I'm like, I don't care. I just want to shoot things.
There. Okay, should we move on? Do we got a choice of Sojourn, Null, Hector, or Joker Queen? Any takers?
So, like, what does Sojourn do? Like, is there even a hint of that?
She's a cyborg. She's got 2 cybernetic arms.
She does. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yes, she has 2 cybernetic arms, and she's like the one person who's been able to shut Genji the fuck up.
So, like, okay.
But that is all we know.
If any of you have played like Mortal Kombat, maybe sort of like a Jax vibe going on, like just
like rapid fire mini Doomfist.
Yeah, exace.
She seems too chill for that.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
because she's a martial artist, man. She's Zen. She only uses it when she needs to.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
I'm playing devil's advocate. Sorry.
Well, no, I feel like she could definitely have like her main weapon be just like a standard gun, but like she should have the ability to like get in there and just like bullet punch people.
Totally.
feel like that'd be very satisfying.
Yeah, certainly. Anyone else have any ideas for someone with 2 smaller cybernetic arms in Doomfist?
I mean, only one of Doomfist's arms are cybernetic. The other one's real.
Yeah, well, it definitely has some heavy augmentations in it. His little shotguns in his fingers.
Yeah, they're both cybernetic.
Well, okay, but that's on his hand. That's not.
The probably needs it's part of his arm. He has.
I'm pretty sure there's like a line running up his arm.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I don't think it's like not part of his body though. Let me look at this.
He fires shotguns from his knuckles. Like it's definitely.
Well, I know, but I think
it's got to be a cybernetic.
But I think what it is, I think it's just like a thing he wears on his hand, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, his left forearm definitely looks like it's heavily augmented, if not.
Yeah, his forearm at the very least isn't real.
Because I'm sure don't like there's like little extra knuckles that slide back and forth across his hand as he fires, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, although
okay, so maybe what it is like from like the elbow down, it might not be real, but from the elbow up, it looks real.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah. His fingers on his left hand, like the ends of his fingers, look very like real and human. So I think it might just be like heavy augments as opposed to like a straight up
replacement.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's fair. That's fair.
And I mean, still, just looking at him at the hand, it doesn't. I mean, to me at least, it doesn't look like it's necessarily literally built into his hand. It looks like a glove, but maybe that's just me.
Oh, okay. I've always taken it
like a very fancy glove.
Yeah.
Especially compared to like McCree and Symmetra with their robotic arms. Like this looks way more biological than what those other heroes have.
Yeah.
He does own a cybernetics company?
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's that. Okay, going back to like Sojourn, like 2 full cybernetic arms. Any like Iron Man vibes ringing out to anyone?
Oh my god.
Do you see what I mean with that? Like ion pulse blasters from her palms, or
yeah.
Or the special move from what is it, Marvel vs. Capcom, where I'm thinking of One Punch Man. I'm thinking of Janos from One Punch Man. The like multi-beam incinerate thing. Like, holy shit! I need to go and look at what Janos can do. Because that could be crazy.
I mean, yeah, I think that'd be cool. Yeah.
Because yeah, to me, sort of like mini faster Doomfist has been the like Jax sort of thing has been my sort of main idea.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you could also almost make her sort of like, obviously not with like the same insane CC capabilities, but like you could sort of almost make her like a Sombra Doomfist hybrid sort of hero.
Ooh.
Where it's like, because as far as we know, she's like very sort of not stealthy, but she's very good at like gathering information and dealing with information and stuff like that. So I feel like she could definitely have some sort of method of getting information from the enemy team or something like that.
She was a like a captain, or she was at least like a mission commander. Does that
captain?
Yeah, does that play into any of the sort of like commander ideas you've spoken about before, Tez? Like,
yeah, that's the only idea I really have off the top of my head. So the only thing we really know about her is that she's a captain. She commands her unit. So the best course of action with what we know, to me, seems to just give her sort of like commanding support abilities.
That could be quite cool, like a mini Doomfist support. Oh my god, we've come back to healer-Doomfist.
Oh god.
This evidently is a thing they have to do. So so should we look
Healer-Doomfist.
So then should we look at Junker Queen for yet another mini healer-Doomfist?
Sure.
Ian, go.
I mean,
Angry Bard.
Go ahead.
Yay!
Angry Bard. I still like that idea, yeah.
Yeah, I'm still a fan of that.
I'm thoroughly convinced that's what she's going to be. She's going to be some crazy, hyper-aggressive support character that, again, Angry Bard, like the anti-Lucio, just
I love
supports through shouting at her team as opposed to feel-good music.
It's more in the spirit of Overwatch, right?
Yeah, right?
Shouting at your team.
She's more toxic, it's perfect. But like, I had my own idea of where like she could be sort of like almost like a battle axe user. Like she would have like sort of a RPG sort of feel to her, where it's sort of more like she has a stamina bar and she has to manage that and she swings her axe around and
Stamina
does all sorts
bar.
of crazy shit like that.
No,
But
we're going Dark Souls on this shit.
well, that's exactly what I was thinking. I was literally because
It's
I
kinda
literally
cool.
I literally was like playing Dark Souls, and I was like, I wonder if we could make a hero in Overwatch that's similar to Dark Souls. And I was like, wait, isn't there a picture of the Junker Queen with a giant electric battle axe? So that was sort of my thought.
It should be so much more like Bloodborne than Dark Souls.
Well, I guess, yeah, but
Like,
still.
The speed, the flexibility of weapons.
Well, it would have to be, yeah.
Do you know, like that's a really cool point. I like that idea because my ideas have revolved around all the silly weapons in the scrapyard, like with the weird battle axe grabby thing, whatever the hell it is she has in the image, being just one of like many weapons she uses, and she'd be sort of more like Jinx from League of Legends.
Oh god, okay.
In that her character is about like each ability is a different weapon, for example.
Yeah, I guess that could work. But I don't know. I don't really play much League of Legends, so it's a little hard for me to visualize. But yeah, I get it.
Yeah, so the core thing I was referencing is that like each ability is essentially a different weapon.
Yeah.
Because there's like a spear with an exhaust on it, which I think would be really cool as like a flamethrower that you can then throw at people to reload, and then you just pull out a new one.
Yeah. Oh god. She just throws chainsaws.
And then we're getting into like Borderlands mechanics. Do you know what I mean? Like with the.
That's what I was thinking.
Oh yeah, she could totally be a Borderlands-esque character.
Yeah, certainly. Like what are the reloading gun manufacturers called? The ones that reload in crazy ways.
TDR.
Oh god.
That's the one. Yeah. So yeah, something like that I think would be kind of funny. Like, if every weapon she has, when she reloads it, it does something else, just silly.
Oh god. Yeah, I suppose that could be funny.
Might be a bit overloaded, but you know.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like she's either going to be... I mean, obviously, I think either way she's going to be a very aggressive character, but I feel like she's either going to be very utility-based or very damage-based.
Okay. Yeah, I've been usually leaning more towards damage. I've usually seen her as kind of like a bruiser.
Yeah.
Bringing in the mech at times, playing with the weapons. The attitude has to sort of scream aggressive, really, I think.
Yeah.
Tez, you got any ideas for the Junker Queen?
I'm relatively agnostic because we've heard, 3 voice lines. That's all I've got to go on for this.
No, that's fair enough.
Yeah, that's totally fair.
Yeah, I guess in virtue of being a junker, there has to be some kind of damage leaning, even if it ends up being a support.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, it could be anything.
Yeah.
I mean, she definitely could be sort of like, almost think of like a damage, sort of close quarters, sort of Zenyatta sort of character. So
In
it's
what
like,
way?
Yeah, how do you mean like Zenyatta?
so like she's, well, more just like the role, in that she's like kind of low healing, high damage.
Okay, right, yeah, I see.
But she's like very close quarters. So sort of like initial release Brig, basically.
Sort of like a healing Doomfist.
Yes!
Yeah, sort of like healing Doomfist, exactly.
Fucking right. I like that you keep coming back to healing Doomfist. It makes it does make it seem like there's like value in the idea, maybe?
There's a demand.
Again, as a Doomfist main, every time I hear healing Doomfist, I just go, oh my god. like, oh no.
Should we try Null Hector then and see if we can make them not healing Doomfist?
Well, I think it's pretty obvious he's either going to be a tank or DPS. I don't think there's much chance of him being a support.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
I think that's really all I would have to say, because I'm not super, like...
Enthused?
I'm not super... No, I'm not... It's not that I'm not super enthused, it's just like, I'm not super sure what you could pull from his design that we see.
Mm-hmm.
Like, all I can tell is a body type, and that's really it.
Yeah, that's fair. I see that.
And he has dreads.
Yeah, anything I've thought of is based off the speculation that he's linked to Null Sector, and if he's not, then that's all down the drain. So, do you know what I mean? Yeah, I'd thought of like either an Omnic Beastmaster or an Omnic Builder of sorts.
Huh.
But I did have...
So, like, like controller of other Omnics sort of thing, or what?
To an extent, yeah. Not exactly sure how. Like, no exact mechanics, like, because adding in things that can supposedly do their own thing is difficult. But if you could have them function like some kind of Symmetra turret, or say you had like slicers as a weapon, or as like an ability, and you just spawn slicers from your sleeves or something, for an example.
That'd be cool, yeah.
And
so
then
it's like a summoner, basically.
Yes,
it's very similar to my Maximilien concept, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I did have the idea the other day, having thought of him using slicers, that his weapon would actually be a slicer, and it's just a little slicer that he holds by the legs and shoots people with it. And then when it runs out of ammo, he like strokes it to give it more ammo, and then it carries on shooting.
I don't think you'd just toss it away and pull out another one.
Yeah,
they're disposable to him.
He could care for every single one, man. Like he is an Omnic rights activist, theoretically.
Right.
Are slicers confirmed to be like full AI Omnics? Like, I thought they were just sort of drones, yeah.
And sure, the potential is there either way. Do you know? Like, there's nothing against a slicer being fully sentient, for an example.
Which makes it even more funny at the thought of him using them as disposable weapons.
Yeah, no kidding. I feel like he could also have some sort of like, I want it not like a hack ability, but something that sort of like limits your ability to, like
do your job,
fight him directly, because he does seem sort of like a almost sort of distant character. Like, I'm not sure.
Hiding in the shadows.
Yeah, so that sort of character.
He could be a backline tank in the same vein as Sigma.
Okay.
Yeah, you could do that. You could definitely do that. So like a ranged tank, yeah.
Like airdropping an Eradicator, for an example.
It's just that's just the hero. Just throws null sector Omnics everywhere.
Yeah, I mean that's obviously me going again back to the null sector possibility, but
I think that's reasonable. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be definitely like a different way to do similar jobs, do you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's what Overwatch does really well, at least when it tries.
Yeah, overall, I feel like he's a lot like Sojourn, where it's just there's too little detail to really say anything definitive of like, oh, he's probably going to do this, because he's just so blank slate at this point. There's so many different routes they could take him, but yeah, it's just really hard to say.
Yeah, totally. He is like it's annoying that there's so much. Well, I say so much focus on them, but when you end an entire event with a reveal, it says something. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I agree. It's kind of annoying. Like, if they're not connected to Null Sector, I'm going to be there like, what the fuck are they?
They better be tied to Null Sector, because I love Null Sector, and they kind of just get shit on constantly. It's like they get wrecked by Overwatch and Uprising, and other than that, they're just non-existent.
Just nobody knows about them.
Yeah.
It would be kind of cool if they were to develop it somewhat, because we need more evil Omnics. We need more Omnics in general, but more evil ones would be nice.
Yeah, like, actually evil Omnics. Yes. Not just like, oh, I used to be a war machine, but now I love nature sort of thing. Like,
don't rag on my son.
I have nothing against Bastion. I just want some like proper evil robots in this game that are playable. Okay. We've got Max. And
that's
cool,
true.
But not a hero yet.
I'm glad you said yeah. Thanks for the faith, man.
Yeah, I didn't want to offend you.
I've taken enough of it by now.
Him as a hero.
Oh, I've got someone in my fucking corner. I like this. Astro, you've just gone up so much in my book, friend.
I love Maximilien. Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm a big fanboy as well. I've suffered maybe not enough abuse for my fanboyish nature.
As someone who grew up around sort of like in a very old fashioned Italian family, like Maximilien brings up so much like, oh my god, it's my great uncle all over again. Like it's like it's too perfect.
Sick. Oh, that's really cool, man.
So I absolutely love him. I think if we are just gonna move on to Maximilien, I mean, are we done with?
I think we're moving
Dreadlock.
I think we're moving on to Maximilien, right?
if you remember way back, like this was before Orisa was even revealed, there was that leak, quote unquote, about how there were these two heroes in development, or like the basic ideas for these two heroes. And one of them was like this tall, lanky guy with like a suit and a tie who wore like all black and red, and he like used nanobots in sort of like a summoner sort of way.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm more or less thoroughly convinced that ended up becoming Maximilien. But
I wasn't playing the game at the time. I didn't know about that.
Yeah,
that's kind of interesting.
I mean, I'm sort of like thoroughly convinced, just because I feel like that it's too much of a coincidence that only about 3 or 4 months later we were introduced to, Doomfist, and then very soon after that, Maximilien.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so,
I believe they're making a fuss of him either because he's a really good supporting character, like he's really good for function, or because they're gonna do something with him.
I think the way Blizzard kind of thinks about it at this point is they aren't going to introduce a new, like, real character unless they plan on making it a hero. Because I feel like there's only a few exceptions to where they could do that and not have the community, like, constantly bugging them about, making so-and-so a hero.
Yeah.
So.
And any ideas for Maximilien abilities then? If we're agreed that he could become a hero, which, can we take that as consensus?
Yeah.
Sure. As much as I don't want it to be the truth.
I'm still hesitant to think Max is going to be playable hero.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see any way that he would he definitely they could do stuff with him to make him playable. But I love your guys' theories for him as a hero, but none of them have just really stuck out to me as oh duh, that's what they will do, you know?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And I feel like that's difficult to do with any hero.
Yeah, but I don't know. I guess it's a very personal thing for me where I feel like I have to have an idea of that's how they could do it and it would work and it would be interesting and it fits with how Blizzard handles heroes. I guess I have very sort of particular parameters in order for me to feel convinced of a hero's viability.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair, yeah.
You need
my idea for it?
Yeah.
What's that?
Go.
The general idea I had, if it had to happen, which I don't really want it to, but oh well.
Mm-hmm.
If it had to happen, it would be a support that worked via sort of gambling. You would place a bet on your teammates, and then if the one that you bet on got a kill, or whatever the condition was, you and the ally you bet on would be rewarded with, say, healing or a damage boost or whatever.
That's fucking cool, man. Like a mini game within the game,
Yeah.
That's cool. That certainly fits character-wise, hugely.
Yeah, he's an accountant, he's a gambler, so it's going to be about taking risks and balancing the books, basically, is what it's going to revolve around.
I like that. That's a really nice take.
I sort of had the idea that he could be a very, very sort of dedicated summoner, sort of resource management control sort of character, where he has these different swarms of nanobots that he can control, and he can make them do different things at command. Maybe he summons other units as his main abilities or something like that. That was just sort of the idea I had in general. He himself doesn't do much fighting, but he's all about putting the right units in the right place at the right time to do something.
Oh, so he's playing chess.
Yes, basically.
Right, nice. Both of you are making Max be a mini game within the game. That's actually quite funny. No, that's really cool. Both of those really fit, depending on the angle that you're working from. You're really focusing in on the doesn't do anything himself vibe that a lot of people get.
Yeah.
And
he's a manipulator. He's a mastermind. He's not the one doing the dirty work.
No, that's cool, man. I love how many different takes there are on him because, again, he's essentially so uncertain, even as to whether he could become a hero or not.
Yeah.
No, that's funky. I've always played with magnetism for Maximilien just so that he can throw coins at people, just because it's just so fitting.
That is true. Yeah. And
it sort of works in the whole working unseen sort of dealio. in that you can't visibly see magnetism, so he can act as he will without your knowledge at any time, and he's actually always like a threat, even when he's just wandering around his casino, just chilling. You're actually very possibly dead if you step too close, like immediately.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's the kind of way I see him, that he's playing off the idea that he doesn't do anything himself, that actually he is the most dangerous thing in his arsenal, if that makes any sense.
Yep.
But yeah, should we move on to... Are there any other characters that people would prefer to see and that we can be less divisive about?
Well, Soundquake is a favorite.
You really like that Soundquake reference.
I do like Soundquake. I really like Soundquake.
They could definitely do something with like Lucio's dad's Sonic technology, if you're going like with sound.
Yeah, I mean, my idea is that he could be like sort of a riot police Omnic, where it's like, where basically like he doesn't do much damage apart from his chest missiles.
Chest missiles.
Yeah, he doesn't do much damage apart from his chest missiles, but everything else is just sort of like ways to keep the enemy at bay. Like, not hard CC, but like ways to keep the enemy at bay.
Like heavily knockback focused or forced movement in some way.
Well, maybe not even that, but like you could like have him sort of have like a deafening effect where he's all about making the enemy players like unable to hear their surroundings. Like he uses like sonic booms and stuff like that.
That's pretty cool. I like that. Tez, you're against that, if I remember rightly.
I am against that.
Yeah.
I'm against the general idea of affecting the player instead of the character.
I am an advocate. I think it's really good.
Well, it's not happened in the game yet, and I don't think it's ever going to.
That is fair. I will totally take that.
I just think it's such an interesting sort of approach they could go with like a character
depriving information,
who's obviously a big dude, yeah, and is based around sound. I'm almost imagining him as like being a character who like is the shield, like not even like Roadhog where it's just like he's big, but he just has like a ridiculous amount of health and he's just huge, and he's pretty slow.
Yeah, a full like face tank. Meathead tank would be really weird to do, because like Bob can die so fast.
Yeah,
like 1200 health can disappear.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I've always been unsure as to whether that's a good idea, if that makes any sense.
I mean, you could do sort of a thing where it's like, if you shoot at him from the front, he takes like a certain percentage less damage. So it's like you have to get around him.
Oh, like a crit spot or something.
Yeah, on his back. Like, he won't have a head hitbox, he'll just have a crit spot on his back.
Yeah, it'd be cool for them to play with characters like that. They sort of did with Wrecking Ball, right?
Sort of, yeah. And Bastion sort of has that.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
So, yeah.
It could have a passive where he takes less damage from non-critical hits and then give him a really big crit spot on the back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty funky. That's definitely a better way to start playing with like a proper face tank.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
so you
cool.
could just give him like 700 health or something, and just like...
Man, I'd go higher.
Have him... have him walk in.
For playing with damage resistance, yeah, that could be alright.
You could do 600 in a mild self-sustainability.
I mean, yeah, I think you would have to have some sort of self-sustain, but I just like the idea of a hero with more than 600 health. Like, I love like super tanky characters. So
600 is thus far the cap, isn't it? It's not. We haven't gone higher.
Yeah, it's like it's like Roadhog melts. Like, there's a lot of damage in the game.
Yeah,
so
you totally can.
He does melt.
It's
but
like
he
even
50% damage resistance from the Take a Breather, doesn't he?
Yeah, and like even Wrecking Ball, when you have like the full shields,
like 1300 health.
1300, you can just vaporize. Like,
yeah. Oh yeah,
it's insane. So
it's a mad game at times, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's sort of my idea.
Any other characters then? Anyone that anyone really wants to see?
I'm a fan of Overlord.
You are, yeah.
Yeah,
of course,
Overlord
talked
is
about
nice.
him in
I like
videos.
Overlord.
Have you had
Remind me
any
what Overlord is?
one of the
What's that?
mecha pilots, the blue one?
Yeah, he's one of the mecha
The
pilots.
Blue Ranger.
Oh, right. Oh, okay, yeah.
Have you had any like new thoughts for him or anything, Ian?
Kind of.
Don't want to say.
I do. At this point, Yeah, maybe not. I might have a video.
Okay, I understand.
Talking more about that. I do think at this point that he's most likely going to be some kind of support.
I also agree on that.
Okay.
Yeah, I would hugely agree on that.
Yeah, because if you look at the dynamic of all 5 mecha squad, D.Mon is the main tank, Diva is the off tank, Casino is like the flanker DPS, King is the like primary damage DPS.
Yeah, like frontline DPS. Yeah.
Which leaves Overlord as having to be the support then. So
and the drones are perfect for like a support kind of thing. Like
yeah,
exactly.
And yeah, that'd be really interesting. Have like keeping something like flight more isolated towards supports is probably a good idea because it's like the most important for supports to be able to see like everything.
Yeah, having like a permaflight support seems to make more sense than like a permaflight tank.
Yes. Unless it played quite like Sigma or almost like a faster Sigma where you're like throwing barriers at the ground, or do you see what I mean?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, maybe something like that could work. Overall, I think a support though.
Yes, I would super agree. Overlord should be a support.
Yeah, I think I'm not super like knowledgeable on Overlord, but I remember that in the podcast episode where Ian and I talked about it, he suggested like this idea of like he's an always flying character, and I thought that was really cool. So, I mean,
I think that would be a very interesting mechanic to add to a hero, because it'd be one of those like super unique things where like it already kind of exists with like Mercy's Valkyrie. She can just fly indefinitely. But what if a hero was just capable of doing that?
Sort of.
And Sigma.
And Zen.
Was more of it. Oh, well, I guess with his ultimate, yeah.
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah, it's like a mechanic that already exists, but then what if Blizzard found a way to like push it to like an extreme, of course compensating in the right regards to keep it balanced, but just taking this sort of like flight mechanic and seeing what if we made this a core element of a hero, you know, similar to Pharah, except like a step even further.
Yeah, I think that the movement options are like actually quite big for Overlord. That's the thing that's sort of stopped me from being able to give them a cohesive kit, is that I can see them like literally moving in several different ways. Like, whether they walk on the weird arms that are like the grabby arms that are underneath, and they're actually like they double as legs, and then he can fly. And whether that's like an activated ability, whether you have something like, if anyone played Jak 2 of the Jak and Daxter series, the vehicles in that game have 2 set levels to travel at within the city, so that a button press changes you from one set height to the other, or whether you are like fully controllable like Valkyrie, or whether there's a management system like Pharah. Like, yeah, man, like that's what's made me just be like, nope, Overlord, I can't deal with you just yet. But I love the idea of drones. I think that's a really cool way to take a character like that if you have that kind of visibility and range, you can be like, you need healing, and you all the way over the other map, Genji, flanking when you shouldn't be, you need healing. Here you go.
Right.
Yeah.
Just sort of fly around and take care of your team.
Yeah. And he's got a little Gatling gun or a minigun, something like that. So it could even be more...
Yeah, on the front.
Could even be more of like an off-healer, in that it doesn't actually have much healing, it's reliable like Zen, and you can maybe put all 4 drones on 4 different people, or all on one person to like spread out how much you heal people at a time. Does that make sense?
Right, and you could even have different kinds of drones. Like, you might have drones that, like, give bonus shield health, but don't actually heal. And, like, potentially there'd be, like, different applications for things like that. You could possibly have damage-dealing drones of some kind. I feel like drones is, like, another mechanic entirely that, like, there's a lot of potential there. And it hasn't really been explored much, unless you want to count, like, Zenyatta's orbs. But at the same time, it does feel like a very sort of, like, odd mechanic. Like, if you deploy a drone that just hovers over your head and shoots at you, like if it's from the enemy team, like, how do you deal with that? You just look up and try to shoot it out of the air? That would just be annoying to deal with. So there's definitely a lot of, like, intricate parts that would have to be considered in terms of, like, keeping the abilities fun and coherent and also working in Overwatch.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I think you kind of put it perfectly when, like, you said he could be, like, consistent healing, because I think it's become pretty obvious at this point that to be a good main healer, you kind of need to have the ability to, like, really have these moments of big bursts of healing. Maybe not like Ana levels where it's like literally a burst, but just like times where the healing rate is really high. And so I think that you definitely could go sort of a very, almost sort of like a harmony orb for a number of people at once sort of character. I don't know, that's sort of my thought.
Yeah. That was sort of what I was playing with like the multiple people, or if you could like stack. So say if they do like 10 HP a second each and you got 4, you can heal 4 people for 10 HP a second, or you can heal 1 person for 40 HP a second.
That would be really cool.
Yeah, something interesting like that.
So there's like, at least it's dynamic in how, even if you don't have to think about the healing much once it's there, you go, my drone is on my person, but you can then at least be fluid in how you heal them, if that makes sense.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I would like a character like that, honestly.
Yeah,
I mean,
I super dig the idea.
I've always been the kind of person who much more enjoys sort of like very damage-heavy heroes, but I feel like that is definitely something I would like.
Do we look at a more damage-heavy hero from the list? Tez, did you have any like ideas for Overlord? Have you had a look or anything? Or
I'm not that interested, to be honest. I don't think it's that worth exploring, given what we know so far, which is next to nothing.
Yeah, that's fair. Do you think there's possibility for any of them to become heroes?
Any of the Mecha Squad?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Yeah.
I think eventually they'll all end up being heroes, but it's just a matter of when.
I'm not sure about all of them. There's having 5 vaguely similar mechs running around might be a bit excessive.
Yeah.
I think there's potential in it, and it depends. I think they'd have to do something story-wise to be able to push in the differential, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely think that there's potential. There's some like strong characterization there to be able to make kits and characters out of. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'd say there's.
Yeah, I mean, I think if they avoid the mistake that they made with Diva with the rest of the Mecha Squad, and where they just all become characters basically, I feel like they could definitely make good heroes.
Yeah, I'm totally on with that. Do we want to look at another Mecha Squad person, or do we want to shift gears somewhere else, or?
There's D.Mon.
There's totally D.Mon. I'm a huge D.Mon fanboy.
There is.
And I know Ian has a good concept for D.Mon, but beyond that, I don't really have too much to say about her.
Oh, that's fair. Ian, have you had any new ideas for D.Mon, or Tez, have you got anything, or?
Not off the top of my head. Again, I think this is the one that if they're ever going to make another Mecha Squad canon, it'll be this one.
Super agree on that.
See, I disagree with that, and if you look like the character perspective, I feel like D.Mon as a character just seems too similar to Diva as a character.
Do we know anything about D.Mon as a character?
We know they came from the same esports team.
That's
and their names are very similar.
Yes.
It just feels like missed potential. If you're going to have 2 mecha characters, why are you going to make the characters themselves basically the same person? I'm sure D.Mon could have like a more aggressive personality or something, or have other subtleties. But I mean,
that's what I was saying. Like they can't all be cardboard cutouts.
Yeah, I think that's why I think Overlord has more potential than D.Mon, is because I feel like D.Mon and Diva they're too close. Like Blizzard would want to, space them out a bit if they're going to take 2 characters that are already like, both from the same Korean like mecha squad.
Yeah.
See, I see that
makes sense.
I see that as possibly a positive, and I've always seen D.Mon as maybe being something that you'd use to show like the inverse of Diva, so that on the face of it you go
foil.
Yeah, on the face of it you go, Diva and D.Mon, well of course they're the same, and then you see them as characters and you go, man, those bitches are about to kill someone. That's how I see it.
They're very different.
That's how I see it in my head anyway, but that's obviously relying on headcanon. I see the concern totally. And Overlord's more of a different character. Like he looks like just a young dude who shouldn't be where he is.
Yeah. He looks like he's like 10.
He's like proper baby. Yeah, he's like proper baby face. Like that could totally be a strength to the character. That
it certainly makes him unique, if nothing else, because we don't have that many young dudes on the roster. There's a lot of old dudes, not that many young dudes.
That's true.
A lot of young ladies. What the fuck?
Yeah, so that is another aspect where he'd be a very unique character to add.
Yeah, totally.
And also, again, this is headcanon, but he seems like he's probably a pretty shy dude, pretty quiet, just given how young he looks. Just
Agreed.
given
Yeah.
his role as the sort of like, support on this team that sort of has its own structure.
They have a nickname for him that means like the young one. It's like a Korean nickname. Like, I totally agree with that headcanon.
From like the K-pop perspective of it. Yeah, and the idea of having this sort of like very, maybe timid character. Like, again, that's a personality that doesn't really exist on the roster. It might sound a bit boring, just like
Bastion.
generically. Oh yeah, but Bastion's like different.
Yeah,
like he's
Bastion,
a robot.
I wouldn't say
he doesn't
Bastion's,
talk, but it's not.
I wouldn't say
I wouldn't
he's
consider it
timid.
the same as having a timid personality.
Yeah, he's not timid, I would say. Like, in the comic with Torbjorn, he literally, like, approaches Torbjorn with a flower. That doesn't say timid.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you also have to remember that he ran away the first time. He was like,
well, because of the threat of death, yeah.
well, yeah, but I mean,
But yeah, like, Overlord to me seems far
yeah.
more, like, actually shy than sort of that iteration, yeah. Which, we don't have.
I guess that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's another big reason why I focus so much on Overlord out of the 4 mecha candidates, is because it feels like there's the most potential to make a unique, different hero with him compared to the other 3.
I could totally see that, and the fact that he's most likely the support as well.
Right, that too.
So, like, the whole thing does actually lean quite heavily that way when you think about it. Got a good point, man. You haven't convinced me yet. I still believe Demon's the best choice, but I like your reasoning. Overall,
what about the fact that she's too tall to fit through spawn room doors?
Then we make her shorter. It's fine.
She can crouch.
We fix it in post.
Diva can't crouch. Why would Demon be able to crouch?
Well, no, I mean like the mech, like the posture of the mech when it's actually in use is crouched.
Versus when it's standing in the
Yeah, because it's in like
bay?
a hangar. It's in a hangar. It's like being
Yeah, so it's actually
held
taller.
up.
So it's actually taller, right? Or shorter? Because I'm not.
I would say if it's being stored in a repair bay, it's probably going to be shorter there than when it's on the field.
Than it normally is, even. That is
I
kind
don't
of
know,
that is kind of a concern. That's upsetting.
Yeah, and another interesting thing which stuck out to me, I haven't actually measured it yet, but Jeff Kaplan said in the live stream with Seagull when Sigma first hit PTR that Sigma is currently the tallest hero on the roster, and there was almost he said there was almost an issue where he couldn't fit through some doors. And I haven't checked it yet, but I'm pretty sure Demon is even taller than Sigma. So Sigma is like bordering on being too tall. Demon is definitely too tall, but I would have to double check the heights for those.
I'm just saying, like, if you look at Demon's legs, like the mech's legs, it looks like that when it's standing, it could somewhat collapse. Like it doesn't stand up perfectly straight. Maybe that's just me.
That'd be a weird visual. The idea of a robot which
just like
crouches when auto crouches to walk around.
Yeah,
you could be right. That's just a weird visual in my eyes.
They definitely have to make it. So, like, if they were to implement her, they definitely have to change the hitbox of the mech somehow.
Yeah.
And, they could even go in a completely different direction where they add Demon as a character and she just flat out doesn't have the mech. Like, maybe something really weird happens in her story where she leaves Mecha Squad and just doesn't even have a mech at all, or has a completely different mech. That's entirely possible. I mean, look at
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah.
His backstory.
You could totally play in story with a reason for the mech changing as well. Like, oh, your mech got battered after so many battles, so we did it up. Like, yeah.
Well,
there's totally workarounds for it anyway.
I'm actually looking at Demon's mech right now, and if you look at its legs, the way it's shown in like the Mecha Squad lineup, it's standing shorter than the posture it has when it's in that hangar bay.
Wait, which Mecha Squad lineup? Are you talking about the hits
scale necessarily?
Well, I know, but it shows like that
the legs are in like a wide stance. Yeah.
Yeah,
but it's the same
wide stance.
But it's in the same kind of stance that Diva's mech is always in, and she's still taller than Diva. And Diva's like one of the biggest in the game anyway. And that's just from the collective image of like all 5 mecha members together with their mechs behind them and shit.
Yeah, it is actually crouched in the hangar.
I thought so. Yeah, they're gonna need to sort that out.
I just hopped onto the PTR, and I'm Sigma on Busan. And yeah, Demon's like 50% taller than even Sigma.
Holy
There's no way
shit.
Demon is not gonna work in that mech.
Oh shit.
Wow.
Ouch.
And I already find it hard to get through doors as Wrecking Ball.
Yeah.
Oof.
Anyway, so yeah, the height is definitely an issue for D.Mon, but again,
No,
there are definitely
maps,
ways. Man. Yeah, there's sure just redesign every map.
Change the maps.
There are definitely ways they could work around the height issue, but that's a definite concern.
Yes, hugely. Yeah, should we look at someone more viable in someone like Sanjay?
Yes, another one of my favorites.
Yes, one of mine as well.
I knew you guys would have ideas. Tez, have you got any ideas for Sanjay?
Not really. I don't find him interesting, like, at all.
I had a feeling you were like that.
He's a kind of stock villainous figure, I guess. He doesn't have a personality yet. What can I say?
Yeah, that's fair. That's kind of
a little bit.
That's kind of what I like about him, in that he's so like cold. Like
he's
almost like
clinical
dead
pragmatist.
Yeah.
Which I love.
See, I figured you'd like that about him, Tez. To be honest, like the pragmatism.
I like
at
that
least.
part, but nothing. That's not good enough. Like on its own, there needs to be something sort of catalyzed. Because Moira has the sort of pragmatism catalyzed by her enthusiasm for science and her domination over other people.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Sanjay needs some secondary trait to catalyze that pragmatism to make him a more fleshed out character.
I feel like what you could do with him is you could make him just like super apathetic. Like,
yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Ooh, see, I'd always
Moira's excited for science. She loves science. Sanjay's not necessarily excited for clinical pragmatism.
But
he's just like, this is what needs to be done.
But
he's doing it because it needs to be done.
Yeah, it's a must. Like he's I see that. I can totally dig that.
Then the question to me would be, what does he value as a character? If
he values doing what Vishkar wants.
Why?
Because it makes the world a better place.
Well, no.
Yeah, Sanjay seems to like.
I think he might function as just being like a fully indoctrinated character. Like he's not like Symmetra, where he like has the ability to like doubt Vishkar. Like he could just be so indoctrinated that it's just natural to him. There's no way he can think that Vishkar is doing something wrong, sort of thing.
You'd go a bit more sympathetic with him, to an extent.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
See,
I would just.
I'd always.
You go. Give yours.
I'd always kind of seen him like the thing he values is order. Like it's slightly different from Symmetra, who's almost like, I wish order existed. Sanjay is like, order will be placed in order by me. That's how I've always like seen the differential between them, like what he actually values. Like people should know their places, and if they don't, I'll make them.
Yeah, he's like a lawful neutral almost. Like all he cares about is establishing order. He has no vendetta against any given people. He's basically emotionless, but he's like, this has to be done because it has to be done.
Because logic and order.
Yeah.
Because consequence.
Exactly.
Say again?
Isn't that the definition of lawful evil as opposed to lawful neutral?
It's probably closer to lawful evil, maybe.
Yeah, but I feel like maybe you're right. I'm probably not the most.
Neutral is so hard to actually achieve. It's really weird.
I mean, yeah, I think that would make an interesting character. I think he could sort of just be based around being like the ultimate puppet for Vishkar or something.
Do you think that he would use like the technological resources that Vishkar has at his disposal?
Absolutely.
We're imagining any kit for Sanjay kind of has to use that, right? Really?
Yeah, I'm thinking like he could be even like more hardlight based than Symmetra, like where it's like he uses like a suit that's just entirely hardlight.
Yeah, I've seen that idea batted around. That is quite a funky idea, actually. Like a very different way of doing a thing like that.
Yeah.
And it fits more with him. He's not an artist or a creator. He's
an architect.
Yeah, an architect. He's more of like an arbiter. That I am here to ensure things get done.
Yep.
Yeah, that could be quite cool. I do like the idea of him playing with hard light in as many aspects as possible. Like if his gun shoots like hard light shards or something. Was that your idea, Ian? Shards?
Yeah, it was basically like that was basically it. So like it fired out like hard light sort of like scrap bits that is like quickly forming, just shoots out.
That could be cool.
Yeah, I discussed with someone recently the idea of like hard light javelins, which could be actually kind of a funky alternative. So you could have that function something like the Needler, in the or like Callista from League of Legends, if that carries to anyone like beyond you guys as well. If that doesn't make sense, like quickly look her up.
I mean, it's not familiar to me, but I know what a Needler is.
Yeah. The idea with Callista is she has like ethereal spears that when she hits an enemy with them, they stick in, and I'm sure she has an ability to do something then with those spears that are stuck in an enemy.
Yeah.
To cause like extra damage and shit like that.
I've always, it's funny you say that, because I've always wanted a character in Overwatch that has like a weapon that's similar to the Needler, and where like each shot like barely does any damage, but if you get enough shots into someone in a short enough amount of time, they take a huge burst of damage or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be a cool thing to introduce.
Yeah, I played with that on my Lynx 17 concept, and that's probably my favourite weapon I've made so far.
That's kind of like the Maze Cryoblaster, but with more of a damage orientation instead of freezing.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that'd be really cool.
Yeah, the Needler idea is a weapon they totally have to get in somehow.
Oh yeah, there's so many just types of weapons from so many different games that I feel like they need to introduce in some way or another eventually.
Yeah, still a lot of room for different things to add to Overwatch.
Yeah,
it's a shame
don't
that
have a
heroes
railgun.
don't release faster.
Yeah,
I wish they released faster.
Yeah, I am also of that mindset. I think that the more we could get into it, the faster you'll be able to actually create a more easily dynamic system, if that makes any sense. Like,
well, yeah, I mean, I think if you remember what Jeff said on the Seagull stream, it's like they definitely could speed up production of heroes, but like they don't want to risk making the game change too fast so that people can't keep up with like the heroes that were previously added or have been there from the beginning. Like you can't really appreciate them. But I feel like 2 months is enough time to like appreciate a character, because I mean, let's be honest, everyone is like already over the release of a new character within like a month of release.
I'm very used to seeing Baptiste now, for instance.
Yeah.
He just exists.
Yeah, I feel like with each like subsequent hero release, it's less exciting. With the possible exception of Sigma because of his origin story, just how amazing that was.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely like
lines.
Baptiste felt less exciting than Ashe. Ashe was less exciting than Wrecking Ball. I guess Wrecking Ball was kind of an anomaly too, but in general, it's just like each iteration it's less exciting because we've seen it before, and we were like, well, I mean, it's a new hero, but we've had new heroes before.
Personally, I was super excited for Ashe just because of Bob, but yeah, I get what you mean.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a level of subjectivity. Like each hero is gonna, be interesting to different people.
But it's more like the familiarity, isn't it? Like we're so familiar with the 30 heroes we have now that one more isn't that impactful as it was back when we knew 29 heroes, slightly less, and we got a new. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Exactly. It's like a cumulative effect, I suppose. Yeah. But if they were to do more, maybe that would help generate more regular hype, etc.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe.
I would agree with that.
But again, Tez is hating this argument because he thinks they should slow down. If you're still of that mindset, Tez.
Yeah, purely for the sake of moving resources over to like varying new game modes and things, giving more content to the game basically, as opposed to diversifying the same kind of content.
That's actually a cool point. Yeah, it'd be nice to see a new actual game mode.
Yeah.
I feel like they could go that route. The only issue is that having a whole new game mode like brings in a lot more long-term resource dedication than a new hero. Like, because when you have a new game mode, you have to make new maps for each of the game mode, like multiple maps for that game mode. You have to go into like thinking, how will every single hero work in this? How we make the rules work with that. I feel like it's just easier to make new heroes, and I feel like that would attract more people anyways.
I'm not even talking about a new game mode for the regular quick play and competitive, just something aside from quick play and competitive completely. Like some completely different,
new arcade stuff, essentially.
Wouldn't that probably attract even less people?
It depends what it was.
Yeah, it depends on how novel I guess
guess.
it comes to, isn't it? Do you know, like
If they ever added a campaign for some reason, I'm sure that would attract lots of people.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
I would happily forgo 3 heroes a year in exchange for a campaign.
a bartering man.
I mean, I think, I mean, from the Overwatch 2 stuff, I think that sounds feasible.
Hey, it'd be nice if they
Yeah,
could
we'll
do.
see.
Be nice if they could do both, right? Like a campaign and 3 heroes a year, right?
Well, I think they will. I mean, Overwatch 2 is
Yeah.
probably going to be PvE, whatever they decide to do.
That's-
And I don't think we're going to see a slowdown in hero releases because of Overwatch 2.
No, they wouldn't
okay,
do
okay.
that. They wouldn't do that. Because even then, hero releases are still what brings them the biggest influx of interest.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
From a marketing business standpoint, they're going to profit a lot more off of adding a new hero every 4 months than adding some like big arcade mode or something something game mode.
Or even the events. Yeah.
Yeah, even the events. Like those are just not going to have the same impact as introducing a new character, which a bunch of people are going to be able to relate to and enjoy playing and everything.
Yeah. No,
I mean,
absolutely.
from a financial position, surely the events are where they make the most money, because that brings in the new skins, which brings people back to spend money. People won't necessarily spend money on a new hero, especially if it's free.
Right,
that's
but I
fair.
think they're like in tandem with each other. Like if they just stopped releasing heroes, the events would all suffer because the core gameplay of the game, the thing people love, which is the heroes, is just going to dry up. So why are people going to come back for skins if they're not invested in the core of the game?
Yeah, like you say.
And when
it's-
there's new
it's-
heroes, you have new skins for those heroes.
Yeah, like you say, it's they both sort of influence each other. Like the heroes are more for influence and hype, essentially. Like that's what it brings to the game more so, like interest.
Right.
And then the events are where they maybe don't get as much interest, but they definitely make more money. yeah.
Also, when you
They don't get as much interest because for the last 4 years now, it's been the same event over and over.
That doesn't
Round
Well,
help.
there's definitely that, yeah.
Doesn't help, yeah.
I feel that if they discontinued, say, Lunar New Year into the Easter event instead, I'm sure that would get tons of attention.
They also get tons of flack because the East Asian community loves that event.
I replace
Yeah,
another
that's
one.
true.
We'll replace Christmas with Hanukkah. I don't know.
I'm trying to think of other ones that are in proximity to each other now.
Get rid
Oh.
of Halloween and do a Thanksgiving event. I'm sure everyone would
Oh.
love that.
No.
I wonder if they'll do something big for the Summer Games next year, since that's the Olympics.
Probably not.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kill my dreams.
Oh.
Like, Jeff has literally said just, like, don't expect much from
Yeah.
the events. Like,
I
he
know.
straight up said that.
That's
I
kind of
remember.
that's kind of fine in its way, right? When we've been part of the game for as long as some of us have, there's definitely something about the core game that still does something.
Yeah, no, like, I remember Ian made that video about, like, how they need to diversify the events, and they had the picture of, like, the spray of Soldier on his rocking chair with, like, I've been here since the open beta, and I'm sitting there thinking to myself, wow, it's me. Like, I've been here since the open beta. I've seen all this shit go down.
Jesus.
Like, yeah. I think the events are probably something that they'll keep them up because they help with, like, revenue, but I don't think we can reasonably expect them to put a lot of resources into them.
Yeah.
Like, do you reckon it'd be kind of interesting if they adopted a schedule much more like something like Fortnite, for example, like where updates are maybe smaller but much more regular?
Maybe. I feel like that would require like some pretty hefty like overhauls just in the general system of how like cosmetics and events work.
Yeah, totally.
Which they might do,
If they-
especially if loot boxes end up like going away.
Yeah. Or if they went free to play, for example.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's possible, but
That's
it would
a good
be a
point.
big change.
Yeah. Oh, certainly it would. Yeah.
You also have to keep in
We'll
mind
get-
that Epic shut down the entire studio just to keep the small updates running for Fortnite.
Oh.
Yeah, you could see the complete dissolution of Heroes of the Storm if they were to shift.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Oh no!
That's right.
Wow.
Which, to be honest, is not a great loss.
Yeah. I enjoy Heroes of the Storm existing, even if I don't play it.
Oh. It does have these odd little, nice little touches for Overwatch, I find.
Yeah, like the Tobal Steam reactor thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Pointed out. That was bizarre.
Yeah, man. So, super bizarre. Just out of nowhere, I was like, what the fuck is this? What do you mean gravitic harness 2 years ago?
I'm wondering if that was just some random intern that just had to write an arbitrary description, and then like 2 years later, Blizzard was like,
Holy
hey,
shit.
you used that term. Let's build off that term.
That's fucking awesome. Yeah.
That's such a Blizzard thing to do, though. Like, honestly.
Yeah.
With how, like, apparently Sigma came about, their design process sounds a lot more fluid than I, like, imagined it to be.
Yeah.
Because that's why I've attached myself to these fucking Omnics so hard, is that I'm like, you've got good characters there, fucking use them.
Do something.
And then they keep bringing out just, like, essentially randomers, sorry, but...
I think a huge part of it is they just have this huge archive, basically, of characters.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, these are all possibilities. And they want to design kits or maybe characters. But yeah, but it's like, oh, this character happens to line up with this ability kit we're working on. We'll take this character and add them as a hero. That's literally what happened with Brigitte. She wasn't originally going to be a hero, but then she fit the sort of like support paladin.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
That's what happened with Sigma too.
Yeah,
like
they just manifested a character
because they gave Mauga the wrong kit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like it's more a recent development, like in their strategy. They might have accidentally done it with Brigitte, but they keep talking in at least the last year's development updates about having multiple heroes in the works at once, where previously they were only talking about having maybe 1 or 2 kits in the works at the time. They seem to have changed tack at some point.
Yeah,
but then you also have to wonder if that's maybe just like, publicity talk. Like, oh, we definitely have a big plan for the next 2 years. Definitely. Yeah. And just don't want people to jump ship or something.
Remember the, again, what Jeff said on the stream, they have really interesting stuff coming up. But, I mean, we'll see. I think... Yeah,
they like being mysterious, don't they?
I think that we're definitely going to get a good end to 2019 with Blizzard and Overwatch. Okay. But we'll see.
That's positive, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we are going to get a bunch of content drops just based on what Jeff was saying.
Yeah, I feel like BlizzCon this year is probably going to either straight up have Overwatch 2 or have something of like a similar, magnitude.
I think. Yeah, I think what they're probably going to do is I think they're probably going to reveal Overwatch 2. And then in tandem reveal Hero 32, and they're like something to do with each other.
Okay.
Like
I'd had that thought
for
like Echo particularly.
Well, yeah, exactly. Like with how story heavy Echo seems to be. If Overwatch 2 ends up being like story based, they could have Echo be like a really big character in the PvE game, and then at the same time they release her as a hero in Overwatch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be an interesting way to like cross it over. It just sort of, I guess it depends, like on what Overwatch 2 is, on what they're actually doing with heroes. Like, as we just said, like how many of the heroes they have in works are just in flux. Do you know what I mean? Like,
right. Oh yeah, I mean, again, we learned a lot from this Seagull stream. Jeff basically said that Sigma has been in the works for like almost 18 months.
Oh really?
But they've just like
I thought it was a year.
But they've just been on and off with his development like constantly.
Because I'm sure I heard someone mention that the actual like hero developer, like the guy who made Sigma, I think it was an Overwatch Central video or something that actually named him recently. Sigma was his first hero within Overwatch that he like made.
Oh,
yeah.
You're talking about Josh? No,
Josh. I thought it was Josh. Yeah, and he's working on a damage character and a healer beyond Sigma, if I remember right.
If I recall the exact way he said it, he said Sigma was actually the 3rd character he's made.
Oh, okay.
And he's made a support. No, Sigma was the 3rd character he's made, and the first of the 3 characters he's made that's been released.
Right. Okay.
And it's really weird because it seems to imply there's 2 finished heroes just sitting internally.
Yeah.
Which is possible, but I think it's more likely that when he says it's the third hero he's made, he's referring more to like a concept design he's made, as opposed to this is a complete hero with like a cosmetic kit and everything in game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense.
Definitely don't have that yet.
Yeah.
He could be talking about more a kit than a hero, because we've seen them stockpiling characters recently. They could be stockpiling kits all the same.
Right. That seems pretty likely.
Yeah, because like the accretion is a move that they've had knocking around for ages.
Yeah, it was going to be a Doomfist move they mentioned.
Yeah, so
but it just didn't end up fitting.
Oh, that's why I love it so much. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, the rock throw is something I've seen mentioned like several times as an old ability they wanted to use.
Yeah.
So it evidently found a slot somewhere. So maybe you're right, Tez, that they've managed to be like, okay, we've gotten rid of this old idea that we've been struggling with, and now we can focus on the new ones. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be kind of interesting, especially if they do have any heroes close to finished, like now.
I think it's at any one time they probably have 2 heroes that are like more or less done, and it's just a matter of like them polishing things.
Yeah, based on what we've seen previously, because at last BlizzCon, like when Ash was shown off at BlizzCon, Jeff said that Hero 30 was playable internally. Mm-hmm. And of course that ended up being Baptiste. And then there's other like videos that they've shown off in the past. Like they showed like gameplay test footage of like Doomfist from like 8 months prior to his release or something crazy like that. So there's definitely a lot of evidence to suggest that, at least when it comes to like the hero's kit and having some form of like functioning mechanic build in game, they're pretty far ahead generally with those. It sounds like.
Yeah, I mean, if I remember correctly, what Jeff basically said was that they have such a limited like art team, they have to do things very sort of like one by one, sort of that they have to take it slow.
Oh, so sort of like mechanics first, because they've got enough people to make like heroes that work, but then it's down to okay, of the 3 heroes that are ready mechanically, who's got the clearest story so that the art team can start drawing this motherfucker, essentially.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think there's that, but then there's also like the fact that sometimes they will have a character where it's like they have a character that they make at the art team, and they're like, hey, we should make this a hero, and then it goes the other way, and it's just, it's totally going to get complicated.
Oh, it totally can go the other way. Just from the sound of things, it seems like they're more inclined to work mechanics first, if that makes sense.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying, that when that happens, it can also make it more difficult for them to pump out the designed mechanics they have.
Oh, certainly.
Yeah.
From there, has anyone suddenly like sprung any ideas about any of the other heroes? As we've established that like they need to start they could do more. Maybe they could also maybe do other things. Like I brought up Lynx 17 and no one gave me anything back. So somebody give me something back. Lynx 17 thoughts.
I have nothing on that character. I'll just say that up straight.
I think it'd be very interesting. I'm not sure what they'd do with them.
Yeah. I mean, probably support, but that goes for the majority of things we've discussed here. Support, because it does
support
Doomfist.
Support Doomfist,
Healing Doomfist. There we go.
Yeah, not too much to say. He can hack, but in a good way.
He hacks to undo the hack.
Yeah. I've definitely tried to implement the idea of like cleansing into Lynx.
Yeah. He's just like a cleanse character. That'd be cool.
I imagine you need to do something beyond cleansing, since not every team comp you'll go against will have an effect.
Oh yeah, it does. Visual clones as well. That was my base ability idea. Cleanse and visual clone of an ally. I'm trying to think who else we've got. Any characters anyone has any interest in then?
I'm interested in Liao and Sam.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Characters. I don't know anything about what their kits would be. Just in terms of characters, I find them interesting.
Okay. I'm nowhere near as fussed on Sam. I see him as more like character development for Farah and Anna than an actual character, sadly.
Yeah, so we basically have like swapped views when it comes to like Sam and Maximilien.
Yeah.
I'm not as passionate about the idea of Sam definitely being a hero as you are with Max, but I feel like there's something there. Like I feel like he's this sort of like back burner character where Blizzard has this whole backstory sort of developed that, like, internally, that they know who he is.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just kind of keeping him there until they really know what to do with him. Either introduce him in, like, an animated short, or maybe find a hero kit that they feel works for him.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of those sort of, like, background characters that they're just waiting for the right time.
I can see it happening totally. I'm not against the idea. I just think he leans more the other way, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, it depends on what they do with him. Like, what is he? Canadian First Nations? Is that right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I was wondering if I'd said that right then. So it depends.
I don't know. I don't know if that's the correct terminology, but yeah, I think I know.
Yeah, it is.
I have a feeling it's...
Okay.
Yeah. So it depends on whether they actually, like, go into the culture to bring anything out of that at all. Like, we've got which is the Farah skin that is influenced? Is that the Thunderbird skin, or am I...
Yeah, Thunderbird and Rain Dancer, I think, are the two.
So if they
I have to double check that.
So yeah, if they were to maybe play with some of those kind of ideas, like a weather manipulator, for instance.
Yeah. Can see that.
Be a bit drastic, but I mean we just got Black Hole Man, so.
Yeah, Black Hole.
Nothing's out of the question.
Yeah. I love that he's got a superpower.
Yeah, he really does.
He's not the only one. But...
He's not the only one, but I actually really enjoy the, like, few characters in the roster that have edging closer to
superpowers.
Yeah, like closer to superpowers. I find that really cool. What about Liao then? Who do we think? Does anyone have, like, a concrete idea of who they think Liao is?
I think there's a genuine possibility that Liao as a character has been scrapped.
Oh, just totally retconned out of existence.
Yeah.
Very possible.
Because the character has not been specifically mentioned in, like, almost 3 years at this point.
Wow.
Like, I think their only canon, like, text appearance of their name was before Overwatch even launched. And the devs have only sort of responded to questions a couple times since then regarding the character.
Huh.
So
I think Liao's only mentioned as being part of the strike team. Nothing said that they survived.
Mm-hmm.
Right, that's another point.
That's fair. Yeah, totally.
They could just write them off as dead.
Yeah, very easily. Like, very easily. But yeah, with them not having been mentioned for so long, you could also lean the other way, and it could be that they've been hidden for so long to do something important without warning.
Yeah.
I mean, technically, Sojourn was the exact same case up until Storm Rising. She appeared in the Recall animated short. And then and also in that, like, early photograph with Ana. So I guess it wasn't quite as extreme of, like, a time gap. But then there was, like, 2 years of nothing until she shows up in Storm Rising again.
Yeah, and then she's not even a hero yet still.
Right.
So yeah, like, and the Maximilien actually was spaced out hugely between Masquerade and Storm Rising when you think about it.
Yeah.
So like it seems they are, like, at least prepared to play slightly more of a long game with certain characters, do you know?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That is kind of like Junker Queen, they've said, is long-term plans. Like, I wonder if they're going to do an event with her as the antagonist, like with Max.
That'd be cool. That would be pretty cool.
I would so be down for that.
Huh. Yeah.
And that's like a different. It allows them to be coy and be like, oh yes, we have long-term plans for the Jungle Queen. Do you know? Like,
that's fair.
So everyone goes like, oh, new hero, motherfucker, yes! And they're like, we fooled them again. Why do we keep trying to fool them all the time?
We tricked them into trusting us for another few months, and then we'll mention Echo officially again to get them hooked for another few.
Yeah, it's almost like it's almost like they enjoy it. I don't know why they're doing it at times.
99% of the time, it all comes from Jeff Kaplan specifically. So I think he enjoys it, definitely.
Yep.
Either that or he feels like it desperately needs to be done in order to keep people interested.
Yeah.
Maybe both.
Oh.
Yep.
That'd be quite funny if he's there like, oh no, they're gonna go, but I love teasing them.
Oh
I mean, the
God.
only reason we even know Echo's name is because...
Jeff.
He said it.
Jeff.
He said it in a way where it's like, it almost feels like maybe he wasn't supposed to have named her, but he just did. So,
or that he was there like, I just noticed that we didn't put her name in the fucking cinematic. Oh my god, we need to tell these people her name now. Like,
Or the idea was that we just wouldn't know her name, but he was like, fuck it, let him know.
I do like it when Jeff gets those seemingly fuck it moments. Like,
yeah,
I'm so glad
he had that like when Sigma got leaked. He was just like, yeah, who's Sigma? Okay, yeah, Sigma's this guy. You're gonna know a lot about him. It's like he just literally did a 180 on stream. It was so funny.
That was so great.
Are there any characters that we want to see do anything that we haven't like brought up yet?
Not particularly.
Nah, I mean that's everyone for me.
Yeah, that's everyone for me.
Yeah, I think that's me too. Unless I think Anubis is actually kind of a funny one to play with.
Yeah.
Oh, like the God program?
Yes. I think it'd be interesting to at least do something with, whether you go hero and my silly idea about a horde of Omnics as the Anubis hero.
Oh well, okay. So if we're gonna go like that, sort of like off the beaten path. I mean, I kind of like the idea of Sven, but
I also quite like the idea of Sven. I think he'd be a good character to add.
Yeah, like an anti-Torbjorn engineer of sorts. That could be interesting.
Yeah.
He's got like really good like theming and ideology as well about like weapons of mass destruction and fucking what's it called? Deterrence. Deterrence. Yeah. He's like he's got the whole thing about deterrence, but he's also very possibly doing it all for the money and not the ideology. And I think he's actually kind of interesting to play with.
He definitely has potential.
Yeah.
Again, for a character who just sort of disappeared several years ago.
Yeah, it's very similar to like Lynx. It's like a character with interesting potential, but they just kind of disappeared. And it's like, who knows if they'll ever come back, and if they do, what would they even look like?
Yeah.
Yep.
It's not just characters that are disappearing. Remember the cube from Train Hoppers?
Yeah, what's happened with those?
Tesseract from the train.
Where the fuck the cube go?
See,
what are they doing with it?
I totally think that might be linked to the Omnic tech from the end of Infiltration, and maybe what powers the MEKA mechs, because they all look like similar things.
So it might just be a fusion reactor.
Yeah, it well could be, but if there's a comic about one of them particularly being so valuable, and one of them is definitely valuable, the Infiltration one.
Yeah. I don't think it will be something like a fusion reactor because it was on a passenger train.
Yeah. That's a good point.
But it might not have been stored there, like
hiding in plain sight,
legally.
maybe.
Yeah.
Right.
Because they knew that wouldn't logically be targeted, but Talon over-bluffed the double bluff, if you will.
Yeah, I'm sure there'd be something against endangering civilian life by putting it on a passenger train if it was dangerous. So I'm going to go with it's not something like a fusion reactor or a bomb.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, but then that does actually raise quite an interesting question about what the fuck it could be. Because I'd always taken the idea of some kind of energy generating thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it always struck me as being reminiscent of the cube on Bastion's back. Which is described to be his power source, so...
And we do have the whole Omnic energy thing.
Yeah, which does fuck knows.
Which just fuck
whatever
knows.
That fucking means.
Yeah. It doesn't have to mean anything more than Omnic energy. It's just a different source of energy. It's fine. It's easy. Vacuum energy, if you want an actual source for it. Why not?
Oh, that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Sigma would be all over that.
Yeah, totally. I do have actually quite an interesting theory about Sigma.
Go on.
Involving Tracer. Not only will he be able to recognize what her tech is quite easily, most likely anyway. I think he will be literally able to feel Tracer, not in the sexy way, but he would know from the gravitational and sort of time space sort of warping around her. I think he'd be able to know instantaneously at looking at her. He's like, oh, you got ripped across time, shit.
Well, I actually saw this.
And from there,
sorry, go ahead.
And from there, he would be there you can go back. You can take me back. Tracer is the key to Sigma undoing his own problem.
Does he want it undone?
Don't know, but if he does,
we don't know.
If there's definitely suggestions that he's not happy with how he is.
Yeah.
So yes, it comes down to more that would be the reveal that he has some form of cogence left, and that he does want what has happened to him undone. But it creates a conflict between directly personally between him and Tracer that's not actually totally evil. It's like, oh wait, you want to go back in time and undo the terrible thing that happened to you. I, as Tracer, am really confused about this. Do you see what I mean?
Well, I actually saw this. Yeah, it was like a fan comic. It was very short, but it was just like Sigma was all. He looked very distressed, and Tracer asked him like, "Oh, are you all right?" And Sigma says, "Oh yeah, I'm fine. It's just that after getting ripped through space-time, I hear this melody," and it's like Tracer responds with, "I know the exact melody you're talking about." Like,
or she sings or she like whistles it at him.
Well, yeah, it's like, because like, what if she also hears it, but it just doesn't drive her insane?
That's pretty interesting, actually. Be a nice way to draw, like, because to me, Sigma has always been Tracer gone wrong. Like, the story is basically Tracer went wrong, but just really well directed.
Yeah.
So I think there's definitely ways to play off what, like, both their powers and like their relationship to each other. I totally think that's a cool way to take them.
I mean, maybe Winston could just whip up another chronal accelerator for Sigma and he'll be fine.
And he could probably use it in some way. Holy shit, yeah.
but that's the thing, right? I don't think Sigma is
maybe not
stuck in time. I think he's stuck
across
in space.
Yeah, they're definitely not the same thing.
No.
So you'd need like a spatial accelerator.
They're like similar. They're like similar though. Like time and space are like they do interact.
Well, they're the same. They're technically the same thing.
Yeah. And gravity influences them both. Correct, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So there's definitely ways to like cross the streams, if you will. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like Tracer blinks into kinetic grasp, and the whole universe falls into a Dirac sea. Do you know?
Oh God!
I knew that would get that reaction. Awesome. It's essentially just like inverse space, which is really hard to imagine.
Yeah.
The hyperspheres are apparently like a coordinate representation of inverse space or something like that. They're really mad.
Yeah, they are. They're sort of like dark matter or something.
Oh shit! Nice.
I'd probably say that's likely. Just because of how they seem to interact with things around them and how they need to be contained like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's an interesting coincidence linking Sigma to Tracer, because before it came out, when the initial teasers came up...
Yeah, you did!
I did say that my initial theory was that Sigma built the slipstream before it came out.
Oh, that'd be cool.
The thing gave me that impression was that all the equations were about like escape velocity and aerodynamics, which seem to imply...
That's true, yeah. They are.
See, the one that drew me to that was the uncertainty principle.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's how That's how I was
the
like...
Heisenberg principle?
Yes, that's how I was envisioning like the warping, like either like quantum tunneling or quantum entanglement. So you entangle yourself at a position and suddenly, boop, you are there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's still not 100% out of the question, since because of Sigma's lack of aging between the present and whenever that happened, it's possible that he could have built the slipstream before the incident.
Yeah, maybe. It depends on how long he was subject Sigma for, and that says years.
It was definitely maybe.
Yes. Yeah.
It's not a theory that's out of the question, but I doubt it.
It's a cool idea, man. Like, even if he was like the precursor to the slipstream, say.
Yeah.
They based it off his failed experiment, and oh look how funny it is that it failed again.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool, man. Something that, as you mentioned, the lack of aging. There's something I realized like the other day, that in the Anna origin story, like Anna gets her eye shot out and she's young, and then she's suddenly in a hospital with bandages over her eye and she's old.
That's a really funny thing to point out. I never noticed.
Yeah,
I don't know why. It just suddenly jumped in my mind the other day. I was like, hang on a minute. Why the fuck does she suddenly age like 20 years? In the period of a hospital visit.
You're right.
It's just really...
No kidding.
It's just really stupid.
They must have retconned it, because I think it was Uprising, her little icon shows signs of her aging. She's not the Anna in the legendary skin.
Yeah, that's true. Like, her hair is greying and stuff, right?
Yeah, and she had, like, bags under her eyes.
That's really weird.
Yeah, it must have been a retcon.
Yeah, oh god, how many things do we end up having to say that about?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Everything. The entire law's a retcon.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, retconning can sort of happen in perpetuity as you go through. Just some things are a little too grating at times.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely that.
Does anyone have any ideas about the rest of the mecha squad? As I just realised we didn't cover all of them.
Not really?
Casino and King are the two that it's just like, what the fuck?
King looks okay
seem...
as like artillery, like backline artillery.
Mm-hmm.
That's about it.
Right.
Yeah, I've envisioned sort of like a lock-on ability for his missile silo things.
There was an idea I had, which was sort of a mortar that if you alt fire, it would explode if you hadn't hit a surface, which would be a good flak cannon for fighting against Farah.
Ah, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So what, like, it would arc upwards and then you can detonate it in the air to take out something like a Farah?
It wouldn't arc upwards necessarily, just arc like a grenade, or Hansa's arrow would, and you can detonate whenever.
That's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah. Totally isn't ripped from the original Doom.
Totally isn't.
I don't know, you got anything else?
As you mentioned, the flak cannon, actually, Unreal has quite a few cool guns that could transfer over, and that some already have, like the flak cannon to Roadhog to an extent, and Zarya to an extent. Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's any guns from other games, because we mentioned that there must be loads, but...
There are, it's just you gotta sit and think for a long time.
Yeah.
There's the pistol from Dishonored, I'm sure, has some kind of use, which is that it fires one pellet going straight forwards in a hit scan motion, but then the shell case, instead of being ejected, it's split apart and releases a shotgun blast.
Ooh.
So you've got one pistol pellet for long range, and then close to range it does more damage.
Oh, so it like, doubles as a pistol and a shotgun in like the same firing mechanism.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty funky. Oh, what do we reckon to... if the Mecha Squad were introduced, what do we reckon to them all having baby forms? Because I know this is a divisive...
You want to go down this tangent?
No, I don't really want to talk about the idea too much, but I'd like to see if anyone else thinks that it could be a viable idea. That's all.
I believe the very thought of that is an additional reason to have another Mecha Squad member not be in their mech as a hero.
Okay.
Yeah, you could do that. You could just be like their ult or something.
Yeah?
Yeah, the mech could be their ultimate.
Yeah, it'd be like more of a Bob dynamic.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what you could do with D.Mon.
Yeah.
For mech's too big.
That could go sort of like a Titanfall route, where what was a mech gets given an AI.
Yeah, sorta.
Like,
but I mean, isn't that exactly what they used to be before they turned them into mechs?
Yeah. It's kind of going... Well, they were drones rather than, like, Omnics, if that makes sense.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But if you were to be able to make Beast, like, fully sentient, and Beast is just your buddy...
That'd be pretty cool.
That could actually be pretty cool. And that'd be a really, like, different way of maybe, like, tanking, that you tank with your big bodyguard rather than yourself.
That could be cool. Yeah, maybe. I like that.
Did we find a way to implement D.Mon? That's pretty mad. I assume I take it from there most people don't like the idea.
I'm trying to think how it would work mechanically. You know, like having this sort of like bodyguard that you, I guess, would summon or drag along behind you or something.
I wouldn't have it as a bodyguard. I'd just have a separate mecha form as the ultimate that lasts, 8 seconds. I think they have a similar thing in Heroes of the Storm, the ultimate for what's his face with the minigun. I forget his name from StarCraft. His ultimate's exactly that. It gets into a big mech for a certain duration.
That's something I think we've generally attached to someone like the Junker Queen as well at times, right?
Oh yeah, because there's mechs in the compound.
Yeah, and she won the mech battling competition sometime back before Wrecking Ball did.
Oh, did she?
Yeah. She was champion of the Scrapyard, which was notably like a mech fighting arena.
I mean, she could have just fought the mechs off without using a mech.
Yeah, that'd be badass. That'd be cool as fuck.
That's what the giant axe is. She just destroys mechs with it.
Yeah, that could be really cool. That if she won the Scrapyard just without a mech. Like, I don't need a mech. You pansies, get out of that machine. Yeah, she'd be really fun. I quite look forward to seeing her come into that. Like, the Junkers could use a bit of expansion in their ways, I feel.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. They definitely need it.
It'd just be really nice to see, I think. I think she'd add a really cool dynamic to them.
Yeah. I would agree with that.
Do I think there's anything else? Yeah.
I think we hit every single character we had in this list.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Let me double check the list.
Except for Casino, I guess. We didn't really say anything about him, but...
Yeah, fuck Casino.
Yeah, there's the nothing about a kit, but I do reckon he has possible links to either Maximilien or Talon based on the name of his mech and his call sign.
Yeah, he was
Really?
a F1 racer prior to joining MEKA, which would be interesting if you think about like the Monaco Grand Prix and possible. Maybe.
And the fact that there's now multiple skins in game that tie to seemingly a particular racing organization. Because there's
a racing organization.
Well, there's the T race. There's one of the T racer skins, and it has the it has the same coloration as the Zarya epic she got over Storm Rising.
Can we just have a payload map that's just the Monaco Grand Prix?
That'd be pretty cool.
Yes.
That'd be awesome. That'd be awesome.
Just with cars everywhere.
Yeah. It's like the Oasis Highway, except it's the entire map.
No one ever
my
pushes the
God.
payload to the end.
It can be a hybrid map for capture points to pit stop.
Oh, nice. And what, you're delivering like a car?
Yeah, delivering it to the finish line.
Yeah, that would carry, totally.
That's actually not a bad idea at all. I could see that happening.
That would
just
totally work.
You could just like bolt Bastion to the ceiling and then just go.
Yeah, that's a really cool idea. I think that could be actually kind of a good map for them to do.
Blizzard take notes.
Where it's like the payload is so fast that if you get in front of it, you die.
Oh wow!
Maybe not that drastic.
A payload that accelerates the more people that are around it, and if you hit 6 on the payload, it goes at
It
like
just rams
at a velocity that will actually like knock back and damage enemies. Like
I mean, that would be good for breaking bunkers, but
turn the payload into a weapon.
yeah, I don't know.
Oh god.
Oh no!
Attach like symmetric turrets to it as well.
Just drive by the
Just-
melt.
Yeah, no, just everything just vaporizes. You just stick Bastion on there. It's just everything's gone.
Monaco is actually sounding like kind of a good King of the Hill map to me now, because you could have the casino as one, the racetrack as another, and then I don't know as a third.
The circus, because that's what the Junkrat skin is
Oh,
referencing.
yeah.
The circus.
That could be kind of cool for like a King of the Hill map, right?
Yeah. We might be onto something here.
Yeah.
Holy shit!
I mean, it's not like they're that city states. I mean, there's Nambani, so
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, Monaco could actually. Oh, the reason why I've tied Casino more directly to Monaco is the name of his mech. Have I explained that to any of you?
No, what is it?
Oh, the Monaco Casino.
Yeah, Casino. The name of his mech, like the name Casino has very obvious suggestions anyway.
Yeah.
But the name of his mech is La Princesse Sirene, which is a title given to royalty only in Monaco.
And his F1 racer.
Yes, yeah, duh, yeah, that too.
Okay.
Yeah, that's actually like a lot of legitimate similarities right there. That's an interesting one.
It sounds like one of those crackpot theories my friend Jazz would come up with. Like,
Hey, prepare yourself for crackpot theories if you start
perfect
talking
sense.
to me.
But it's just.
Yeah, it's maybe stretching, but like in learning that the name of the mech was not only like a royal title, but one only used in Monaco, I was just like, wait a minute.
Yeah, it's just like a bizarre amount of evidence. It's like 3 different points, it's all seemingly tying to Monaco and thus maybe Maximilien.
Yeah, Maximilien
who
is
knows?
like my strongest guess on who he'd be connected with, like maybe rather than Talon itself, maybe? Or maybe he's just like a Talon agent, and Max is just his boss, hired him along the way, etc. Do you know, it could go anyway.
That would be interesting. Like
That's true,
compromised
you could have
Mecha Squad.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
think. That's what I think Casino is there for. That's what I think would be actually really interesting.
That would be interesting, actually.
If only they'd move the damn story forward.
I know, right? We've been here for an eternity.
We've been here for 2 hours saying this would be interesting.
Well, yeah. Really.
If
Shit.
we do make the Monaco Casino a map, would it become the Casino Royale?
Ooh. Oh.
Sure.
Do we know the name of Max's casino?
We do not.
Alright.
No. It's the
Oh,
it's
the Casino
Maximilien
Royale might have
Casino.
some
I don't know.
copyright issues.
I might have some copyright issues.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's fair.
very, very mild.
Just call it Maximilien Casino. That's all you need.
He'd come up with some smarmy ass name to call it, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
I love him, but he'd be a smarmy prick about it.
I mean, that's his entire character.
Yeah, man.
It's why you love him.
Yeah, kind of.
Exactly.
Nice.
And now we have hit every single character on the list.
Yeah, shit.
Yep.
Nice. Hey,
We have.
guys, honestly,
And
good.
this new map.
Oh, and a new map. Yeah, holy shit. And a
And
new
a new map.
and a new Junker event.
Yep.
Speaking of that, actually, one final note. Anubis and his control over Omnics could make for a great event as well.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Kind of like Uprising, except they're like Anubis Omnics instead of Null Sector.
That'd be cool.
Holy shit, what if you could play with something like XCOM, where it's actually like a rescue mission?
Oh
and
my
you're,
God.
And you're on a
Ooh.
timer. You're on a timer to save as many Omnics from being taken over by Anubis as you can, and those that do, you have to fight.
That would be awesome.
That would be cool.
That's such
That'd
a
be
cool.
really
That'd be
cool.
a massive, like, cool balancing act to do. No?
And I mean, you would probably. I'm trying to think like what you would probably have for like, because they're always in 4s, so it would probably be like, because I mean, who's there? You'd have Farah, Ana,
Soldier.
and oh god,
Reaper was there, but he wouldn't work with them.
no, he wouldn't have worked with them.
It's very possible that Soldier and Anna are going to see Mercy, but that doesn't tie them directly.
Well, yeah, but I mean
to...
that wouldn't make sense because
Yeah.
Mercy's not near there. She's closer to Oasis.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. I
Um,
was just trying to make at least the link. I know that geographically it wouldn't exactly work, and let's just say
Yeah.
it depends how in the present / future / past you're setting it. I suppose.
I mean, I suppose what you could have is, I suppose it wouldn't be unreasonable to maybe have, I don't know, trying to think of tanks that would even be over there for some reason.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to think of.
I'm thinking the other way. Like, you could have it be exactly like the comic, and you play as like 5 or 6 Pharahs.
That would be
that
very
would be-
strange.
And
Very,
then,
very
but
strange.
with the other 5 Pharahs being like the other members of her squad, say, so just like a reskin,
Yeah,
because they're all using
maybe.
theoretically the same tech. So
I guess so.
at
yeah.
least for a game mode, it would be at least an easy way to like 1-to-1 match the scenario, for example.
I guess so. Yeah.
You can also switch out the voice lines. It won't be the first time they've done that for an event.
Yeah, they could do that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm just thinking like, I'm trying to think like who's even near there. I mean, there's Reaper.
We can send
Sombra.
we can send someone like
Oh.
Wrecking Ball there.
Arisa from Nambani.
That's one of
Struck
the
across Africa.
that's one of the
But
closest.
that's literally
Across.
further from Egypt than Oasis is.
Same continent.
I'm pretty sure Europe's closer than
Yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah,
like
literally.
Talon HQ is closer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. I just like the idea of Arisa just crossing the savannah, just
She like
Oh, actually, no, she would do it. She'd absolutely do it.
oh, she's so weird. Like
She-
Lucio asked her for help, and she's like, yeah. Where we going?
No, but, like-
South America. Yeah, fuck it, let's go.
No, but like, can you imagine it? Like, because she's so sort of like naive, she just like gets a call. It's like, we need an Overwatch agent in Africa or something, and she's just like, I'm not Overwatch, but I can definitely help people.
I
So she
will
just-
be their shield.
She just walks outside and just she walks out of Numbani across the savannah into Egypt just because she heard someone wanted help. Like,
takes like 2 weeks to walk there, but she just keeps
Yeah.
going.
That is very Arisa, I think. There's loads of
Yeah, it
potential
is.
with her as well, to be honest. Like,
it could be a wrecking ball on a tourist trip.
that's what I was thinking. Wrecking Ball would be great.
Tourist trip.
He just bowls through, man. He's just going wherever. What, you're fighting like a super sentient crazy god AI? Help, let me in on this. Of course, Squeak.
I mean, or you could have Winston. I mean, Winston's like right across the Mediterranean.
Winston would
That's
be
true.
interesting to actually like have him go out.
I mean, he did that in Storm Rising.
Tracer is
That's in the
presumably
past.
there
That
as
is
well.
in the past. I was meaning like in the present day.
Oh,
Because
yeah, I
Winston
guess.
probably wants to chill where he is, present day.
Yeah, I don't know. Does anyone have any idea how the fuck they're gonna get May off of Antarctica?
Oh, she already has. She's already
You're just
there.
gonna walk. Okay.
Yeah, she literally she
She's
walked.
still walking.
She visited Nepal. There's like a diary of
Really?
yeah. There's a diary of
There's
May.
literally no way for her to get How? How would she do that?
Well, no, there's.
Where's the boat? Like, what did she do?
Oh no, there's like stops in between. She goes to America first, apparently. Like she ends up coming out. She comes out through the Yukon or something, I think.
Well, no, that was her travels before she was.
So travels after she got awakened. Totally her travels after. Yes, it has to be. It's
where is
literally.
this information? This is news to me.
I can't remember exactly where it is, but.
I'm pretty sure on Lijiang Town, like a newspaper or something that talks about Mei visiting the Himalayas. So that's definitely present day after she woke up.
So then how the where the fuck?
I mean, she maybe just came across like an outpost.
I have a link for you. I have a link for you all.
Yo, link, let's have a look at this.
Pow! I think this is the right one anyway. Yes, it is. This is the right one.
Fuck is this?
Huh.
It's from 2015. Oh my god.
This is pre-release.
This is like building up to her release essentially.
Yes.
Was this like a
it was the way they teased her, yeah.
Holy shit! She comes through the Yukon.
Yeah, that's how they.
Artist.
Well, she's pretty smart. She's just a little ditzy.
Yeah. May's great. I love May. She's awesome.
19 intelligence, 3 wisdom.
Yeah, exactly. Literally.
My last D&D character was like the reverse of that. 7 intelligence, 20 wisdom. It was quite interesting.
What would that even result in?
Really like good at reading the moment, but not that good like background knowledge. That's sort of how it sort of culminated anyway. It was D&D. You gotta get loose with that, you know. Even though it's hard numbers. But yeah.
Is there anything else we have to talk about? I gotta go in like 2 minutes. So.
You feel free to head off, Astro. Dude, thank you so much for coming on. This has actually been really fun. It's been nice to meet you, man.
Yeah, nice to meet you. I do podcasts with Ian all the time, so he asked me to come on.
Yeah.
Well, it was Euclidean's idea to invite you on, actually. I don't want to take credit.
Oh, it was?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
I'd seen you guys had done podcasts together. I noticed you talked about concepts a bit, so I was like, seems up his alley. Do you know?
Yeah, okay. That's cool.
So yeah, no, dude, honestly, thanks a lot for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I could always use more people to connect with.
Yeah, always welcome, man.
But
so yeah, in fact, we'll use this as a little outro. Like Astro has to go, the rest of us have lives to an extent, right?
Something along those lines.
So a huge thanks to MasterIanGamer, Teslobo, and the Astrobiologist for coming on with me today. I hope that you enjoy all the random shit that we just threw at you, because we just gave you like years worth of Blizzard's work in like 2.5 hours. So and work that they may never do. So yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for coming on, guys. Like, it's been good to have you. Hopefully, see you again. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
Yeah. Hopefully, I can get you on my own podcast eventually. That'd be fun.
Sounds like a cool idea, man. Thanks. Well, yeah. Thank you again, guys. Say goodbye to everyone for me, and we'll wave everyone out. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Take care, everyone.
Yeah.
Aww, you're so cute, Ian.
Thanks.
What? I'll see you guys later. This was fun.
Have fun, dude. Thanks.
See ya.
Sorry.